What is a fume cupboard? Special ventilated and enclosed area in which laboratory work with harmful gases and vapors can be carried out safely. State the correct procedure for diluting concentrated sulphuric acid with water, and explain the hazards should this procedure be reversed. 1. Add the acid slowly to the water while stirring continuously. 2. If water is added to the acid, an exothermic, heat-releasing, reaction occurs. This can be violent if the water is added rapidly. A cryogenic fluid is one whose vapor must be cooled below room temperature before it can be liquefied by an increase in pressure. Which if any of the following substances are cryogenic fluids? 1. Hydrogen. 2. Oxygen. 3. Nitrogen. A cryogenic fluid is one whose vapor must be cooled below room temperature before it can be liquefied by an increase in pressure. How many, if any, of the following are cryogenic fluids? 1. Carbon monoxide. 2. Carbon dioxide. 3. Ozone. Both sodium and phosphorus ignite spontaneously in air. How should they be stored, and can they be stored together? Sodium must be stored under paraffin, phosphorus under water. They should not be stored near each other as confusion would be dangerous. Sodium reacts violently with water. What do you understand by the following terms? A. Acute toxicity. B. Chronic toxicity. A. Acute toxicity refers to the situation where a substance produces harmful effects quickly, that is seconds, minutes, hours. B. Chronic toxicity refers to the situation where a substance produces harmful effects in a long period of time, that is months or years. Bromine is regarded as a particularly dangerous chemical in the laboratory. Give 3 reasons for this assumption. 1. High density. 2. Highly corrosive. 3. Reacts violently with many materials. 4. Can be absorbed through the skin. Name 6 hazards that could be associated with a leak of liquid from an unidentified overhead pipeline. 1. It could be corrosive. 2. It could give off toxic fumes. 3. It could be flammable. 4. It could scald. 5. It could create a slipping hazard. 6. It may cause an electrical short circuit. 7. It may react chemically with material on the floor. Name 3 conditions in which a chemical agent may exist in industry, from which toxic or corrosive or flammable risks may ensue. 1. Gases, gas cylinders, compressors, etc. 2. Vapors, solvents, paint, dry cleaning, etc. 3. Aerosols, spraying liquids, etc. 4. Liquids, spills, or splashes, etc. 5. Dusts, weighing powders, sampling, etc. When threshold limit values are given on a data sheet for a substance, give 2 important facts that must not be assumed. 1. The TLV is not an index of relative toxicity. 2. The TLV does not indicate the relative hazardous nature of a substance. What hazards result from a mercury spill, and how should these hazards be dealt with? 1. Mercury vapor, which is highly toxic, exists in the air above the spill, hence it is a significant respiratory hazard. 2. The mercury should be collected with appropriate equipment or chemically neutralized. What is the maximum level of combustible gas permitted in the area where a hot work permit is in operation? 1. Not more than 20% of lower flammable limit. 2. Not exceeding relevant occupational exposure limit. Which, if any, of the following materials can ignite when in contact with water? 1. Potassium metal. 2. Sodium metal. What is the full name of the regulations relating to chemicals? The Safety, Health and Welfare at Work, Chemical Agents, Regulations, 2001, SI 619 of 2001. What does ELV stand for and how is it defined within the 2001 regulations? A. Occupational exposure limit value. B. Means, unless otherwise specified, the limit of the time weighted average of the concentration of a chemical agent in the air within the breathing zone of the worker in relation to a specified reference period, as approved by the authority. What is the difference between A. Carcinogen, B. Carcinogenic and C. Carcinogenicity? A carcinogen is a substance that can cause cancer. B. Carcinogenic means able to cause cancer. C. Carcinogenicity is the ability of a substance to cause cancer. What specific actions must the employer take? Name 3. 1. Prevent and control exposure to hazardous chemical agents. 2. Implement specific protection and prevention measures. 3. Make arrangements to deal with accidents, incidents and emergencies. 4. Ensure that employees are properly informed, trained and supervised. List 6 possible health effects of hazardous substances. 1. Sensitization. 2. Asthma. 3. Skin irritation or dermatitis. 4. Cancer. 5. Poisoning. 6. Burns. 7. Heritable genetic damage. 8. Fertility impairment. 9. Harm to the unborn child. 10. Loss of consciousness. 11. Irritation. There are 2 different types of occupational sensitization, skin and respiratory. List 3 typical symptoms of each. Typical symptoms of skin sensitivity are 1. Swelling. 2. Redness. 3. Itching. 4. Pain. 5. Blistering. Sensitization of the respiratory system may result in symptoms similar to a severe asthmatic attack. These symptoms include 1. Wheezing. 2. Difficulty in breathing. 3. Chest tightness. 4. Coughing. 5. Shortness of breath. What is meant by health surveillance as defined in the 2001 Chemical Agents Regulations? The assessment of an individual employee to determine the state of health of that individual, as related to exposure to specific chemical agents at work and includes biological monitoring. The Safety Data Sheet, SDS, is the EC term for the document giving detailed health and safety information about a chemical. Current legislation requires a defined format containing 16 obligatory headings. List 8 of the headings. 1. Identification of the substance, preparation and of the company/undertaking. 2. Hazards identification. 3. Composition, information on ingredients. 4. First aid measures. 5. Firefighting measures. 6. Accidental release measures. 7. Handling and storage. 8. Exposure controls, personal protection. 9. Physical and chemical properties. 10. Stability and reactivity. 11. Toxicological information. 12. Ecological information. 13. Disposal considerations. 14. Transport information. 15. Regulatory information. 16. Other information. In current CPL legislation there are 15 categories of classification of a dangerous preparation. List 8 of these categories. In accordance with the classification requirements of these regulations, a dangerous substance or preparation must be classified as one or more of the following. Physiochemical effects: explosive, oxidizing, extremely flammable, highly flammable, flammable. Toxicological effects: 1. Very toxic. 2. Toxic. 3. Harmful. 4. Corrosive. 5. Irritant. 6. Sensitizing. Specific effects on human health: 1. Carcinogenic. 2. Mutagenic. 3. Toxic for reproduction. Environmental effects: 1. Dangerous for the environment. List 5 product categories that have full exemption from the REACH legislation. 1. Radioactive substances. 2. Substances transported or under customs supervision. 3. Waste as defined in Directive 2006/12/EC. 4. Substance used exclusively as a non-isolated intermediate. 5. The carriage of dangerous substances and dangerous substances in dangerous preparations by rail, road, inland waterway, sea, or air. A cryogenic fluid is one whose vapor must be cooled below room temperature before it can be liquefied by an increase in pressure. Give 4 hazards which face cryogenic fluid users. 1. Frostbite. 2. Respiratory ailments. 3. Chemical burns. 4. Low temperature embrittlement of some metals. 5. Some react violently when combined with other CFs. 6. Some react violently when combined with their surroundings. Give 8 safety recommendations which should be applied to a chemical store. 1. The chemicals should be stored by categories E: corrosive, toxic, reactive, flammable, etc. 2. Do not have shelves above shoulder height. 3. Separate all reactives and non-compatibles. 4. Provide an adequate ventilation system. 5. Firefighting equipment should be designed specifically for the store and its contents. 6. The store structure should be fire-resistant. 7. The contents should be identified and listed externally. 8. Safety showers and eye wash facilities must be provided. 9. Electric services to flame-proof standard.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.